Chapter 1. The Hero and the Princess.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
This is a game called Slay the Princess. I saw Markiplier playing it. I played the demo and it caught my full interest. The demo isn't that long. I will tell you when we get to the part the demo stopped at, so you know when my experiences begin, the new ones. Until then, I'll make you my best hero impression, because killing a princess seems kind of bad though, doesn't it?
Does it? Are you a monarchist? Is slaying a princess that much worse than slaying a fisherman or a miller or a seamstress? If anything, slaying a princess is much better than slaying a seamstress. Seamstresses contribute something of value to society.
Have considered maybe the only reason she's going to end the world is because she's locked up.
While I appreciate the mental exercise, we are running up against a bit of a ticking clock. Nevertheless, let me assure you, the princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not dangerous because she's locked up. And before you decide to waste even more of our time by asking how I know that, let me suggest a more pragmatic lens through which to view this situation. Causality doesn't matter here, because the end result is the same no matter what led us up to this point. If the princess leaves the cabin, the world will end, and there is no changing that. It's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken or egg, because the egg is hatched and it's about to ruin everything.
It's kind of funny.
Unless, of course, you do your job and slay her.
Have you considered that maybe I'm okay with the world ending?
Of course I haven't. Why would I even consider that? Nobody wants the world to end.
I do.
I mean, maybe some people do, like nihilists, or very, very evil people, but surely you're not one of those, right?
No, I'm funny, and I find the world, the earth going boom. I find that hilarious. That would be funny. The end of the world? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to
Thank
put
God.
an end to her.
No more people. Oh, my dream. If you don't tell me why she's dangerous, I'm not going to kill her.
She's not dangerous. She's just a princess. The danger comes if she gets out, which she will unless you do something about it.
Okay. What happens if she gets out then? I want specifics.
The more specifics you have, the harder it will be for you to do this very important job. She's a princess. People will listen to her, because listening to her is in their nature. And when they do, everything will come crashing down.
Do you have any evidence to back this up?
Look, you're already on the path that leads to the cabin. Why would you be here if it weren't to complete a very important task? You've made it this far, you might as well reach the end of your journey.
Listen, so here's the thing. When I'm being told to go kill a defenseless prince, well, being killed a princess who's being chained or locked in a cabin, I don't know, I don't know what I've been told and what I'm remembering from the demo, but people who are telling you to do something for the greater good, if they're being completely honest, should not have to hide some of those details. When people hide details and then claim what you're doing is in the best interest of everybody, those details they're hiding are probably things you don't agree with. So, my answer is, look, I'll go to the cabin and I'll talk to her, and if she's as bad as you say she is, then maybe I'll slay her. But I'm not committing to anything until I've had the chance to meet her face to face.
I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But a word of warning. If you go in prepared to hear her out, she could easily trap you in her web of lies. And the more you listen to her honeyed words, the harder it'll be to pull yourself out. Then each and every one of us is doomed.
Thank God.
So sure, go, talk to her. See how that turns out for all of us. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them.
Voice of the hero. Interesting. A new voice in our heads.
Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I disagree. He seems to know exactly what he's talking about.
The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade.
Did you notice our mouse is a monkey's paw? I think that's a monkey's paw.
The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Okay, so in hindsight, I should take the knife to be for safety, but I did not do that in my demo, and I want to keep this accurate. So let's go in and talk to the princess, shall we?
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed.
You are? It's
Just
been
checking
so
in on
long
you.
Since anyone's come down here, I was starting to think they'd forgotten about me.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains?
Hold on, let's talk a bit first.
Okay.
What's your name?
Oh.
She pauses, carefully formulating her words before she responds.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness. Or you can just call me Princess if Your Royal Highness is too formal.
Is Princess her name or her title? What if it's both? Could you imagine being named Princess?
That's hilarious. So is Princess your name?
Like I said, you can call me Princess if you'd like.
Doesn't remember her
I'm
name, I
sorry,
think.
I've been down here so long, I guess I've just forgotten. I must have a name, though. Everyone has a name.
Okay, that's weird.
I agree.
She hadn't even thought to pick a name for herself. Hopefully you're starting to see that she can't be trusted. Go back upstairs, get the blade, and slay her before it's too late.
Oh, I need to time out for a key sec. Fair warning, this game was labeled in the beginning a horror game that has flashing lights. If I will put a pinned comment if there's flashing lights or anything too scary. I know of one slightly scary thing that will come up. I will warn you before it occurs, okay? And then after we get through the part where I finish the demo, I don't know, I will put the pinned comment because I want you guys to be comfortable. Don't want anyone here getting medical issues. This is all safe, alright? You can watch me be scared and me see flashing lights. You, the viewer, can be safe. Anyways. If I'm the first person you've seen in a while, what have you been eating or drinking?
I don't see what that has to do with anything.
This is the only time this is ever going to happen, but I agree with the princess. That's hardly relevant.
It is very relevant. Like we story details.
Okay, but actually, what has she been eating? She has to eat, right?
I like the voice of the hero. He is same brain cells we're sharing here. I don't know anything about you. For all I know, you're locked up down here for a reason.
Of course I'm locked up down here for a reason. I don't actually know what that reason is, but you don't just stuff a princess in a basement and throw away the key without there being some sort of an explanation, right?
You have all the explanation you need, and you should know better than to trust whatever she comes up with.
What are you going to do if I let you out of here?
The princess hesitates before responding. She doesn't know. She's been down here too long to have any idea of what she'd do in another life. She knows what she'd do. She's just searching for whatever answer she thinks you want to hear.
Are you looking for the truth, or are you looking for the right answer? Because with the dynamic we have going on here, I don't think the specifics of what I do really matter. It's not like you'd believe me.
We're sent here to slay you. You're apparently supposed to end the world. But I wanted to see you for myself. I'm still not sure what to believe.
Is that why they threw me down here? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. I don't remember much about it, to be honest. I've been down here for so long.
How long has she been locked away?
Did they tell you how I'm supposed to end the world?
No, because the they is really annoying and vague. No, which is why I don't think you're actually dangerous.
Sooner or later, you'll learn to trust me.
Fuck off.
Hopefully it won't be too late when you finally come around.
I'll say it again for the other hand. Fuck off.
Thank you for believing me. Now, can you help me get out of here?
I don't think she's a threat. I'll see what I can do.
You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
No.
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs.
That's a good point.
Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
I'm going to check upstairs. Maybe the key's still lying around somewhere up there. And if not, maybe I can at least find something to break you free.
Okay. I'll be here. Good luck.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here?
Try the door.
You try the door, but it's locked from the outside.
Hey, let me out of here.
Shouts and pleas are met with silence. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
Alright, so the kind of freaky part I've seen might be coming up. If you were worried, I don't want to spoil it. I will say it is like very minor gore. If you do not like the idea, scroll down to the comments or just scroll down to the recommended so you don't see my video. I will start describing what's going on, and then when it's safe to do so, I will tell you. Alright? So scroll down now. Alright? You're safe? Alright, I'm continuing.
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
And if I don't say anything, it means the scene's still the same as where we left off. So it's like just the princess with being chained up right now.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf.
Maybe that's a little more minor. If you are not watching, It's like the narrator said, she took her hand that's chained up and is biting below the chain, trying to tear off through everything.
As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clang of bouncing metal. It's the blade from upstairs. You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now. Or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you do that.
Save the princess. I mean, it's kind of silly too, I guess. But I don't know. It could be psychosis or something.
Fine. Against your better judgment.
Alright, so now we're
you
cutting her
place the
hand
blade
off.
against the ragged, self-inflicted wound on the princess's arm, just above the unyielding chain binding her to this place.
My hands are not human. What am I?
You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and it takes
Okay, her hand's off now.
through the bone of her arm. Her limb falls to the ground, and the heavy chains follow suit. She didn't so much as utter a sound through the whole ordeal. No, she didn't. She smiles softly as her gaze meets yours. Blood
Okay,
from her
so
wounded
if
arm
you're okay
dripping
with at least
rhythmically
just
to the
blood,
ground.
you're safe to look. Otherwise, if you don't like blood, it still stay down there. She's happily smiling now that she's free from her bonds.
How is she still smiling after everything? It's like she isn't even bothered by what just happened.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
Approach the locked door.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high.
Okay, I'm gonna recommend
just let her escape
you look
the
up now.
world.
I think it'll just be
No.
blood is the worst thing.
I
It's gotta get serious.
can't just let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade. Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that. Watch me.
What are you doing?
Warn her.
Stop that.
Something's come over you, hasn't it? You know you don't have to do this, right?
Oh, I'm holding a dagger in the mouse thing.
Your body lunges forward, the blade held low, ready to sink into her heart. But the princess dodges, stumbling back against the wall before the blade has a chance to connect. Stop it. Stop trying to resist me. I'm trying to get you out of here alive.
Yeah, and you're trying to go against what I want, so resist.
The blade. Move the blade. As your body remains frozen in stubborn resistance, the princess takes a cautious step forward.
We both know this isn't you.
She nervously reaches towards you and takes the blade from your infuriatingly rigid hands. What are you doing?
I'm sorry.
She plunges it into
I skipped
your
that one,
chest,
I'm sorry.
tearing through flesh and sinew. It is agony.
Oh shit, they got the bone marrow right in the bones. They also got 10. Oh, but that is really accurate. Well, not really, but like, hey, I can respect that attention to detail to anatomy.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Stab harder.
Stay strong. We can tough it out until it's done. For her sake. For her sake? Don't you start pretending that dying a painful death is some sort of heroic gesture. The two of you have literally doomed everyone.
Yeah, and all I had is your word for that. I'll have factual, physical evidence suggesting everything to the contrary, and yet you continue to incessantly insist that I'm doing the wrong thing. I think you're wrong.
Whatever. She sinks the blade into your chest again and again and again, and you feel every inch of burning pain that slices its way
I think
into your body.
there's a way to hide the UI. Oh, wait, let me look it up. Oh, it might be the quick menu. Oh, there it is, yeah. That was it.
I'm sorry.
She doesn't know how to use a knife, does she? Apparently not, though it doesn't matter how sloppy her knife work is, does it? A stab wound is still a stab wound, and it won't be long before you bleed out.
I'm so sorry.
With one last thrust of the knife, your legs give out beneath you. You collapse to the floor, your blood pooling around you, your limbs unresponsive. The princess stares down at your ruined chest as tears carve rivulets of pink down her blood-spattered cheeks. It can't just end like this, right? Oh, that's rich coming from you. As much as I'd prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened. The two of you made your choice. It's over.
Everything goes dark, and you die. Chapter 2, The Damsel. Yeah, that's chapter 1, and it's really...
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Deja vu, I've been in this place before. Oh, you bastard, you're in for it now. I'm wise to your tricks.
My tricks? What on earth are you talking about? We just met for the first time. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way.
The hero remembers.
Yes, he didn't approve of us last time, did he? If we're going to save our beloved, we'll have to be sneaky about it.
Now this is where I get into my theories. So, we're coming up in probably like 2 or 3 minutes to where the demo ended. And trust me, this threw me for the loop the first time, kinda. I mean, it's definitely interesting. Here's my theory. So, I mean, we have the Smitten who's saying my beloved and stuff. So, I'm gonna take it. Okay, I mean, maybe this is obvious, maybe it isn't. When we die, our actions create a new voice, if that makes sense. So, our choice to go save the princess instead of slay the princess created the voice of the hero. Our decision to still help her and even resist the narrator resulted in the voice of the Smitten. So that's what my thinking is, and I think it makes sense. There's obviously a lot of questions of how this is working, but that checks out. But I was thinking, that begs a new question. Is the narrator an external voice, not one that gets created by our actions? Or was there something that occurred before we started playing that resulted in the narrator voice, like an initial 0 run, where the narrator gets birthed out of the choices there? We'll have to see.
Our beloved? Yes, you'll have to be very sneaky about your intentions if you're going to try and save the princess. Ah, so all of the cards are on the table. Then you should know that we and the princess are in love, and the 4 of us will be foiling any and all assassination attempts you've got in the works. We'll see about that. Whatever you do, just be sure to ignore him specifically. It sounds like he's the sort who'd sacrifice the whole world for a peck on the cheek.
And if we're going for who my favorite is, the voice of the hero is just like more or less my reaction.
What can I say? A world without love is a world that isn't worth saving.
This should be a poet. Let's assume I'm telling the truth, and all this really did already happen. Why should I listen to you? Why should I bother doing anything?
Those are 2 very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. You died last time, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. You were the one who did us in, villain. Well, not you in the literal sense, but you did everything you could to stop us from rescuing her. Oh, I wonder why. Maybe it's because the entire world was at stake. No lone princess is worth that price. I beg to differ. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just going to take a deep breath and assume that whoever is making the decisions here has the common sense to ignore your protestations. Anyway, I believe your second question was, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. You forced the princess to kill us, and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me.
The only thing that's different now is that we have the voice of the smitten.
Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would?
Technically speaking, that's not my problem anymore. It's not my world anymore.
She would never. She's a perfect angel that you cruelly imprisoned as part of some convoluted, dastardly scheme.
Yeah, I don't think the narrator is the cause of her being locked up.
Convoluted? I don't know how this premise could be any more simple. Princess bad, stop her, save everyone.
That's way too simple for what's going on here. Let's talk about this princess.
Just be quick about it.
Who locked her in the basement? What is this place?
People locked her in that basement, and I told you what this place is. It's a path in the woods. Don't overcomplicate things.
If they locked her away, why couldn't they slay her? Why is this falling on me?
Look, I'm not supposed to say this, but it's because you're special. You're the only person capable of doing this. Call it a prophecy, if that helps, but it's just the way things are.
Now, that gives me suspicious that I'm not supposed to say this. Why aren't you supposed to say this? Does it matter? Does it affect anything? Why wouldn't you?
Oh, I didn't know we were special. Of course you're special. Why else would you be here? Calling us special isn't going to make us friends, even if it did feel nice. Oh, believe me, the last thing I want is for you and I to be friends. But I'm a professional, and I'm not going to let my dislike for you get in the way of helping you save the world.
You're being cagey. What aren't you telling me?
I've told you everything you need to know. Going into more detail will just overcomplicate an otherwise very simple situation and make your job more difficult.
I'm not going to do it until you give me a straight, non-cagey, non-vague answer. Then, maybe, when I have all the facts, I'll do it. Otherwise, buddy, I'm not listening.
Not to sound like a broken record, but the less you know about her, the better things will go for all of us. I know it sounds like I'm hiding something, but you're just going to have to take me at my word.
Nuh-uh. The only reason she was even able to kill me last time was because I let her. She could barely hold a knife. How was she supposed to end the world?
She just can. Believe me, I wish I could tell you more, but you'll just have to trust that what I'm saying is true, and that, despite it all, you're fully up to the task that's been given to you. Maybe it's her beauty that threatens the world.
That's funny in the worst way.
Sure, it's her beauty. Why not? And before you ask, no, we can't just keep her down there. If you don't slay her, she's going to find a way out. It's unfortunate, I know, but it's just the way it is.
That's all.
Great. Now,
I'm going with them. I'm going to find a way to save her from the cabin.
that's right, you can't stop all of us. We're going to sweep her off her feet if it's the last thing anyone does. Are these really the sorts of people you'd like to align yourself with? You're not at the cabin yet. You still have plenty of time to reflect on the situation. I just hope for all our sakes that you make the right call.
If anybody wants to know what I'm thinking in the sense, it's that I'm being given an order I don't agree with, and I'm not being explained why. And that princess seems pretty innocent, if a bit weird with how she started chewing her arm off, but I haven't identified any reason that death is what is necessary here. So, I'll try to save her. Proceed to the cabin.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat.
I know
We
that.
already told you we're not playing along with your little game. It's your lies that can't be trusted. Her beauty is the only thing in the world we can believe in. I think we've already been over this. I'm pretty sure he just likes the sound of his own voice. I do, but I also speak from the heart. My passions are too great to be stifled. They must be expressed. Sure, yeah, your passions are strong and all, but not everyone needs to hear them. Some things are better kept quiet. Don't pay their bickering any mind. Focus on the task ahead.
Proceed into the cabin. Oh, it looks
The interior
different.
of the cabin is clean and elegant, its stone walls draped in fine-threaded tapestries, a prison befitting a royal prisoner. The only furniture of note is an ornate wooden table with a pristine blade perched on its edge.
I'll have to look back, but if you notice, the cabin looked the same in both events, I would say. The outside, at least. The inside of the first one kind of matched. I don't know about the windows, but it matched. Like, it was a wooden interior to match the wooden exterior, and there were a couple windows. This time, the exterior was the same with, like, the wooden house and the couple of windows. Now it's made of stone, and though there's no windows, there's just, like, there's just openings. So, something's weird.
Your implement.
Evidently, obviously, I mean, of course it's weird.
To do this right.
Explore the mirror. This whole cabin is different than last time.
Very different. Is it? I can't say I was paying much attention to the scenery last time around. Maybe that's because you haven't actually been here. I hope this means you'll finally drop that ridiculous past life nonsense. You haven't died, and you certainly haven't been killed by the princess. So focus up. Stop letting yourself get distracted.
Approach the mirror.
You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime.
Wipe the mirror clean.
You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. But there was a mirror a second ago.
There's still a mirror.
Now it's gone. Pity. We could have a feather out of place, and now we'll never know. We can't gallantly sweep her off her feet if we have a feather out of place.
Should I take the blade this time? No, fuck this. Let's go.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an intricate stairwell. Gold-trimmed carpet glimmers in the light of the torches positioned along the walls. The basement almost seems welcoming in the dim firelight. But it's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. A soft voice carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
Her voice. It's somehow
Sounds slightly different
even
if it's
more
just me.
Beautiful than last time. I can hear wedding bells already. I've held my tongue till now, but you're taking this a little too far. We barely even know the princess. We can still do right by her without all this over-the-top fawning.
Damn, the voice of the hero just like me for real, for real.
Yes, for everyone's sake, you're not in love. Just remember that her charms are all part of the manipulation. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall. My love, we're here to rescue you from your unjust and foul imprisonment. You know she can't hear you, right? She may not be able to hear my words, but surely she can hear my spirit. Oh, your spirit's plenty loud, all right.
It's you, my dashing hero. I was so worried you wouldn't come back.
What? Alright. I actually am confused. So this is where the demo ended. But this isn't what she said at the end of the demo. What she said at the end of the demo was like, I remember you. Do you remember? Like, it was something. It wasn't this. This is different. And now I have even more questions. But those will be answered in the next episode. Please stay tuned. I think this is going to get very interesting and very good. Alright, bye-bye.